Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm gonna do a different video today. I felt like doing this. I created this tier list. I've done it before. And I figured, you know what? I might as well just do this just for the fun of it. Cause I need something to do, so. Anyway, this is a tier list about the probability of who I would personally vote for in the 2024 primaries. Now, this is going to reveal a lot about my political positions. So if you don't really want to know that, and if you want to keep me like as this like unknown guy who like you don't know who his positions are, and he's like somewhat unbiased. Most people I think actually know where I stand on things, but I mean I'm gonna try and self-censor myself a little bit because there's some things that are probably just not like they would be inflammatory if I said them. Like people would be like, "Why do you support this?" And like I don't want that. So I'm just gonna keep it pretty basic about my opinions on these candidates, and you're really just gonna see in the end kind of where I stand on all of them as of right now. So I will actually link this in the description, by the way, for those of you who want to actually do this on your own. And if you do it on your own, be sure and rank it, and then save or download it as an image so that you can keep it. And yeah, that would be kind of cool. So okay. Also, before I get started, I am going to be doing my episode 5 in the podcast, The Political Tornado, which will be happening this Saturday. It's going to be about 2024 Senate candidates, which is an intriguing topic. I love how many candidates are thinking of running. I think it'll be a very, very, very interesting cycle, maybe more interesting than 2022. We'll just have to wait and see what candidates jump into the races. But it's going to be a very interesting episode. I'm going to have my friend Snowboy on for that. Be sure to subscribe to him if you haven't subscribed. And we are going to get right into this. So, anyway, be sure and check out the podcast on Saturday at 7 Eastern Time. Okay, so there are five categories as you can see. Would definitely vote for is like kind of like S tier, like yes, this is like my chosen candidate as of right now, or these are my chosen candidates as of right now. Um, I kind of designed it so that only one person would get put in the S tier, but it's possible I put more than one in there. I'm not entirely sure. The last time I did this, I didn't put any um in there at all. That was just like a day ago, so honestly, I'm just really doing this for YouTube now, but I don't know. My opinions change all the time, so we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Would strongly consider voting for is just like, yeah, I am actually seriously debating voting for this person in the primary. And yes, I can vote. I am 18 now. I can vote. So, and I'm planning on doing it. So, this is kind of a important decision for me. And if you are going to vote, this might be a helpful tool, this entire tier list as well, in helping you make that decision. We might vote for if everyone else drops out. So this is just like a last minute thing. Like, I will vote. And you know what? Why not? This candidate is not all that terrible. They're actually decent on some things. So why the heck not vote for them? Most likely wouldn't vote for means like even if everybody else drops out, I probably would stay home from the polls, but heck, I might go and do it anyway just for the fun of it. And then definitely wouldn't vote for even if there's no other option is just like no. You could stick a gun to my head and I would say no. Pull the trigger. I am not going to the polls to vote for this person in the primary. So they're both Republican and Democratic candidates. However, most of them are Republicans because the Republican primary is the most crowded primary in this election. Also, I did not add Will Hurd. I'm sorry. I know he just announced today. I can tell you I would probably have to do more research on this guy before I put him anywhere. All I know is that MAGA people don't really like Will Hurd for some reason. I do hear on like issues like abortion, he's actually fairly extreme. So I'm not sure why that is. But I don't know. I would probably put him in most likely wouldn't vote for if he was on this list. But anyway, I will update that once I'm done um, recording this so that when I upload the video, you guys can all do it. So I'm talking for a lot of time. This is way too long already. So I'm going to get started with Larry Elder. Larry Elder, look, I've read some things about this guy. He's said some kind of not good stuff about women, I'm pretty sure. In which case, like, that's kind of a turnoff to me. On issues, I actually might kind of like him, which I know says a lot about me, but I mean, if you're watching this far, it's because you want to know my political position. So that's kind of my political position. I would either put this guy in might vote for if everyone else drops out, or most likely wouldn't vote for. He's definitely not somebody I would strongly consider because let's face it, he blew the California recall election. Republicans could have won that race. Not really won the race really, but they could have made it way closer. They could have if like a Youngkin like candidate had been running in that election, we could have seen it come very close or maybe even Newsom getting recalled and we could have ended up with a more solid governor than Newsom anyway, if we had a Youngkin-like candidate running. But unfortunately for Republicans, no Youngkin-like candidate ran. Instead, we got this Larry Elder dude who is known for controversial statements, went out there and said, I'm going to appoint Republicans as senators if Dianne Feinstein dies. I mean, why do you say those things when you're running for governor of California? I, he's just kind of like, no. Like, there are people who are good on issues that I like as well without all the controversy. So frankly, I think I'm going to put this guy in most likely wouldn't vote for because he screwed over Republicans for the California recall, and they're just better people on the issues. I'm sorry, Larry. Also, why are you even running? That's something that I really can't figure out yet is why he's running to begin with when he's not even governor of California yet and he still decides to run. It's stupid. Nikki Haley. I don't like neoconservatives. I'll be real here. Like the whole interventionist thing, she's pretty aggressive on foreign policy from everything I hear. She's just not a strong candidate. Like she might help somewhat in the suburbs, but for let's be real, what candidate, I mean what Republican would actually vote for Nikki Haley? Like if Nikki Haley was on the ballot in 2024, I would probably vote for it just because I don't like Biden, but even then I live in Indiana and it's a safe red state. So I might just stay home from the polls altogether if she was the nominee. Why would I vote for her to begin with? Like, it's not like I'm going to be like, no, I will never vote for this person ever. But right now, she goes and most likely wouldn't vote for her because I don't like her foreign policy, and she's not a very electable candidate at all. Same with Larry Elder. That's part of the reason why I put him in there, um, and all. So Robert Kennedy Jr. I actually respect this guy a lot. I think I wouldn't say I like him because he's still a Democrat, and as many of you know, I still lean Republican, or conservative, um, but that doesn't affect my predictions anyway. This guy, I do really respect him for being against the status quo. Look, it might be disproven that vaccines don't cause autism. I don't care. The fact that this guy is willing to go out there and say crazy things that other members of his party aren't willing to say alone earns me his respect, even if they're not even true. Okay? Like, that actually does kind of earn my respect. And that doesn't make him a liar necessarily. I mean, that just makes him somebody who believes fervently in a cause even though it's been debunked. Like, I don't think that qualifies as lying per se. So before you say, oh, you support a liar, then it's like, no, I don't support him and he's not really a liar. So I probably wouldn't vote for this guy just because I'm not going to be voting in the Democratic primaries. I'm going to be voting in the Republican primaries because even if I did vote in the Democratic primaries, my vote wouldn't really count because Joe is going to get the nomination regardless. So yeah, I most likely wouldn't vote for him, but I'm not going to put him in the definitely wouldn't category because I actually do respect this guy somewhat. Even though on most issues his policy I don't like. But anyway, Chris Christie, I don't get why this guy's running. He's running on two things: go bigger, not smaller, and two, we need to defeat Donald Trump. Donald Trump is so bad. I hate Donald Trump. He's so terrible. Come at me, Donald. Come on at me, Donald. That's his entire campaign strategy is come at me, Donald. I'm gonna fight you to the death. That's his entire campaign strategy, and it's really funny. But also it's just a comical campaign. This big fat guy going around in New Hampshire holding 20 people town halls saying, "Oh guys, look at me. I'm running against Trump. I'm tough on Trump. Don't you like me?" It's just funny. And we all know he's not going to get anywhere by doing that. I mean, Trump's approval in the Republican Party is extremely high, so the fact is somebody's even running a campaign on that is frankly delusional. I don't know why. I don't know why he thinks that'll work, but anyway, I don't even like him on issues. I mean, he was governor of New Jersey. And while I'm not look, while I'm okay with people who aren't MAGA, and I'm okay with people who are MAGA as well, but I'm okay with all kinds, frankly, just so long as they're common sense and they align with my views. I don't care if they're MAGA or not. But regardless, this guy does not align with my views in terms of policy at all. I would rather jump off a skyscraper than vote for this guy in a primary. I would stay home and do something else rather than vote for this guy in a primary. I just would. I would not force myself to go off the polls just because, oh, it's my first time voting, so I'm going to vote for this guy. No, I'm not doing that. Donald Trump, former president. So I thought Trump was like a B president. I don't worship him like other people do, but I'm not heavily against him like other people are either. So this guy would probably either go and might vote for if everyone else drops out because I do like his anti-establishment positions. I like how he's willing to quote go after the deep state end quote because I do believe we have a deep state. There goes my opinion again, but you asked for it. Um, so I guess I would strongly consider voting for him, but it's not like I'm gonna definitely vote for him. I'm really open to other options, honestly, than Trump, because I think he's kind of old at this point. Like people don't not old in terms of age, but just like old in general. Like nobody really wants him as the nominee anymore. His appeal with independence is shot. He might be good on policy, but does that really mean that he's really a good contender? Like he's more hated than Biden, okay? And in a matchup with him versus Biden, Biden would win. Biden would win. Okay? I'm not going to say Trump would beat Biden because that's just not going to happen unless he pulls off another crazy upset, but it's different from 2016. We're not seeing 2016 all over again. Joe Biden is not nearly as despised as Clinton. At least I don't think so. You can fact check me on that and cite polls if you want, but I'm pretty sure Hillary had way less favorability with the American public than Biden does as of right now, and that's partly why Trump won to begin with. So we're not seeing a replay of that at all. Um, Francis Suarez. This guy's a crypto bro. That's all I really know about him. I also know he's kind of moderate, which like moderate Republican, that tends to when people say they're a moderate Republican, that tends to mean they're more liberal than not. I mean, I would call myself a conservative Republican and I'm not MAGA, but like anyway. Um I just don't I just don't know about this guy a whole lot. I don't think he's good though. Definitely not electable, no name recognition at all. And he's a cryptocurrency guy. I mean, I don't get where his appeal is. Also, he's taken a lot of liberal positions from what I've heard on issues that I probably wouldn't be a fan of. So he goes all the way down there. I would not show up to vote for him at all in the primary. Um, Asa Hutchinson. Most likely I wouldn't vote for this guy, although he's not as bad as Chris Christie because I don't know. I don't think he's running just to take on Trump. I think he's running for like no reason at all, frankly. Um so yeah, I just don't I don't know a whole lot about him. I know he's weak on cultural issues. He wasn't really a very strong governor at all. He's just this old guy who needs to go away, essentially. Um, but yeah, there's nothing special about him that would make me want to vote for him. You might say, oh, he's an old school social conservative. Not really. I mean, he did veto the bill that would prevent transgender men from participating in women's sports, I'm pretty sure. Something along those lines he vetoed. So I don't think he's really all that conservative. I think he's taken some more liberal positions on some things, and being more conservative than the average person, I would not want to consider him all that much. But it's not like I hate him or anything. He's just meh. Doug Burgum, I actually might vote for. I've read about this guy, and sure, he wouldn't be able to defeat Biden. I really doubt he would defeat Biden. If we had President Burgum, I would be shocked. I would be shocked, but it won't happen. So I'm not going to worry about that. I mean, not that I would worry, but anyway. So I might vote for him. I On social issues, he tends to be pretty good. I don't know too much about his economic issues. I hear he's running on energy for some reason, which is an interesting thing to run on. He might actually be okay at it. But there's not a whole lot about him on Wikipedia. I would have to do deep dives into this guy to figure more out about him. But from what I can tell, he seems like a pretty solid guy. Seems to fit his state well because he's in a deep red state. And I do agree with him on social issues. So there is that. Joe Biden, I'm not voting for this guy. I think he's not doing a good job as president. It's not like he's a terrible president, but yeah, he's just weak. He's a weak leader. He doesn't have the strength that, like, Obama was weak to a certain extent, but he wasn't weak like as an old man weak. Biden is just this old guy, and I'm sorry, you can try and say, oh, Biden is actually mentally sharp. You can try to say that, but nobody will believe you because there's all sorts of dumb, weird things he's said that suggest otherwise. So people do have a legitimate concern about Biden's uh, mental fitness. So I'm not going to say otherwise. I think he's a weak leader, and we can definitely do better. And I'm not even going to vote in the Democratic primaries either. Why would I show up and vote for this guy anyway? Um, it just wouldn't make sense. Maybe if like Joe Manchin was in the Democratic primary, I would show up and vote for him. But I mean, so I would be willing to cross primaries if I really wanted to, because I do live in an open primary state. But I would not vote for Biden really by any metrics. Marianne Williamson, she literally said that depression is like non-existent or something. That's all I need to know. I don't like her progressive politics. She's got no policy. Like you might say, "Oh, she's talking about peace and love and all that crap." Yeah, but what is her actual policy? I remember in 2020, if you watch this debate in the Democratic primary, she literally was asked, "What would your one thing, if you had one shot to push through legislation in Congress, what would you do? What would that one thing be? That one shot? What would you use for that one shot?" And she said, you know what I would do? I would call up the Prime Minister of New Zealand and I would say New Zealand might be a good place for little girls to grow up in. But America will be better, I promise. Like that was her response. Like, don't tell me that she's good on issues when she doesn't. If I, the fact she denies depression exists, and the fact, like, and like, before you hate on me with like RFK, like, sure, RFK may believe some crazy stuff as well, but at least he's willing to like buck his party and be kind of right wing about it. Marianne Williamson is just progressive left. But Kennedy is yeah, he's a lot more Republican leaning, you could say. Like he's a lot more somebody that can be respected by the Republican side for bucking his party. Whereas Marianne Williamson isn't necessarily bucking her party. She's just bucking one thing. One thing. Okay? One dumb thing about depression. which is not something to be respected considering the fact I literally have depression and I've been diagnosed with it. So why would I even want to vote for? Like, I take that personally, okay? That's stupid. Don't talk like that, and maybe you'll get more than 5% in this primary if you even make it that far, Marianne. Anyway, former Vice President Mike Pence. I like Mike Pence. I think he's a good guy. I like his stances on social issues. He's also talked some about eliminating the national debt, which I like. That's a solid issue that needs to be addressed. And I like the guy. He seems like a good man. He's one of the few good people in politics. I know you're gonna try and throw all this crap at me about Mike Pence, like doing lying and stuff and all that. I mean, politicians lie, and I'm sure Mike Pence regrets it if he's ever lied while in office for anything. But he's just a man of integrity in general, and I think he knows when he's done wrong. I think he understands, and he is careful of what he says, unlike somebody like Trump. Um, but he's just a good guy all around, and I know you might say I'm naive for thinking that, but I think overall he is. I truly believe that. Ron DeSantis, I'm not sure where to put him. I do like him, but at the same time, his campaign's kind of dumb. Like, all he's doing is running on woke and stuff. I'm going to put him in strongly considering voting for. I'm not going to say I would definitely vote for Ron DeSantis, because I really might not. I actually might not do that. He's just not. He's a good candidate running for the nomination, and he would make it closer against Biden. But would he beat Biden? No, he would not beat Biden. I don't think he would. And neither would Pence or Trump, but like none of these candidates would. So I mean, let's be real here. We're really picking off of who we think the best guy is and who most aligns with our beliefs here. And DeSantis does align with my beliefs mostly, but he's portrayed a little bit as crazy by the media. They get on him regarding his like his like anti woke stuff, and I support all that and everything, but sometimes he takes it too far, and I think he needs to have more evidence for some of the things. Like, for example, banning AP Black History or something because he thinks it's going to contain critical race theory, probably. I assume that's what he did it for. I'm not sure entirely why he did that, but that's what I'm assuming he did it for. And that just makes you look anti-black. You need like an actual example of kids being taught in the classroom to hate one another based off of skin color if you want um to make those allegations. Okay? Like, you can't not do that. That's just dumb. So I like him, but I'm not going to say I would definitely vote for him because I'm actually pretty undecided at this point. I need to wait and see the debates. I need to see what people stand for, truly, and really get a sense of their policy before I actually vote for anyone. So I'm not going to commit. Nobody's going to go in that top tier yet. If you thought I was going to put Tim Scott up there, you're mistaken. He goes in, would strongly consider voting for, because I I do like Tim Scott. He's a charismatic guy. He seems like a guy devoted to his faith, similar to Mike Pence, which is partly why I put him up here. He seems like a solid guy. I don't like his foreign policy. His interventionist policy sucks. But when it comes to other issues, he seems okay. So I would consider voting for him, I think. Probably not as much as the others in this top tier, though, but I would definitely consider voting for him for sure. And heck, if he's gaining momentum, I seriously might do it. I actually might do that. We'll have to wait and see. Vivek Ramaswamy. I might vote for him if everyone else drops out because I don't know. He's an interesting guy. Let's just put it that way. Tech entrepreneur, um, author, activist against woke. Just kind of just all around an interesting choice. Now he wouldn't beat Biden, but then again, nobody else would, so I'm even bringing that up. But he's interesting. I think I think you could make an interesting candidate, and his age too. He's in his 30s. This guy is running for president in his 30s, okay? And that would actually be a decent contrast to put up against an old 82-year-old white man. Put up this, young Indian guy. I think he's Indian, pretty sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That would be an interesting matchup. So heck, I might do it just for the heck of it. Lastly, we have Perry Johnson. And this might shock you guys. You might think, oh, he's going to put it in might vote for. No, I'm actually going to put it in would strongly consider voting for. This guy has something going for him that I really like, and that's the 2 cent plan. That's his entire campaign. We need to get rid of the national debt, and to do that, we cut 2 cents off of every dollar of discretionary spending in every year, a year after year. That's his entire economic plan. And heck, none of these other candidates seem to have really any solutions for spending, for like the spending stuff. Like they really don't. They say we need to stop all the spending. We need to stop all the spending. But the issue is like Trump even added like before COVID came around, and he had to add the remaining like 4.5 trillion to the national debt because of the COVID relief stimulus. Um, but even he added 3.5. I think pretty sure according to Fox News it was 3.5. He added 3.5 million to the national debt during before the pandemic came up. But Johnson, like for real, if this guy actually has a solution for it, then I would vote for him in the primary. And heck, I might actually end up doing that. He seems like a really solid guy. I don't even know his cultural issues, but if this guy can take care of the debt crisis that we have going on with all this money, all this spending, none of the other candidates have provided an example. Trump like just dodged the question. Pence is saying something about doing it, but he doesn't have an actual plan. And then DeSantis and Scott, like they all they focus on are like I don't even know what. So and then like the rest of them on the list have no plan whatsoever, mostly. So I mean they're really there's really not any single candidate on this list besides Perry Johnson who actually has a plan. And that's why I would seriously consider voting for this guy because, he seems like a solid guy when it comes to that one issue, and if he can take care of it, then God bless him. We want him to be president. Would he be Biden? Well, he would need name recognition, but he's not going to win the primary, so forget about that. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I kind of hope you agree with this tier list. Um, if you do this tier list, and if you are a Democrat, I know there are only 3 Democrats on this tier list. Be sure and at least look at the individual candidates on the issues. And who knows, you might actually agree with some of them. Like, I'm sure some Democrats like Chris Christie, Asa Hutchinson, Francis Suarez. I'm sure, and even Perry Johnson maybe. Like, you guys might surprise yourself. So, and also, yes, this is my opinion. This is actually how I lean on politics. And yeah, so I don't know what to say. Please don't hate on me in the comments though for being like, you support Mike Pence, you support Trump. I haven't made up my mind yet. I don't know who I'm definitely voting for in this primary. And I have a lot of time to decide. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Like it down below and subscribe. And stick around for the podcast this Saturday, which with Snowboy, where we will be discussing Senate candidates. And I will see you next time. See ya.